My name's Geoff Sansome. We're at Hawford Farm in Claines, Worcestershire, which is just on the banks of the River Severn here, farming around about 100 acres or so on some fairly light sandy loam, sandy silt loam soils. So we fatten about 60 head of cattle a year, some of which go out as boxed beef. We've got cereals, and we do quite a lot with higher tier environmental stewardship. The management of this crop, it's incredibly simple from our perspective. It was direct drilled into the stubble. We haven't applied any fertiliser. We've never applied any fertiliser, and you can see we've got a lovely crop here. We haven't applied any insecticide. The only input this crop has had was a low rate of graminicide because there was a high level of barley volunteers due to this year's harvest. In previous years we played with an insecticide, but that hasn't proved necessary either. So from our perspective, really low input crop, and we get paid by the ewe per head per grazing day. That more than covers all of our costs, and it gives us equally the benefit of what the sheep leave behind in terms of the following crop, which is obviously the residual manurial value of their grazing, and a very clean and even seed bed that we can direct drill into. We'd expect to start grazing this crop probably about mid-December. I mean, it could be grazed now, but it's really down to the grazier. So he'll come in about mid-December, and he'll graze it through until probably about mid-March. As I say, it's about a 10-acre field. He'll bring something like 150 in-lamb ewes here, and he will block graze it. So he will fence off enough of the field to give them about a week's grazing. They will move across, taking all the tops, and then they'll come back and take all the turnips in the second bite at that. Because of the soil type, they keep very clean on here. Very little demand from them for water. They seem to get all the water they want from the crop. And in terms of the last 2 years, the grazier's been really happy with how they performed. Indeed, last year he did fatten some off here as well as putting ewes in here. The grazier back fences all of the field with electric fencing. He's got a quad bike system, so it probably takes him half an hour to fence out a block, nothing much at all. He'll mark out about a week's grazing worth for them. He'll check them every day. He doesn't provide any back grazing. If there are stubble volunteers here, then that helps a little bit on the dry matter. But no, they seem to do fine just with this crop as it is. After the sheep have finished, which is about mid-March, then because of the soil type we're on, we come in very quickly with a crop of spring barley. In the past we have ploughed, but looking at what's been left behind, there won't be a need to plough, quite honestly. We have a contractor with both a weaving and a Dale direct drill, and he will easily come into this and direct drill. We do sometimes get a bit of regrowth from little bits and pieces of stubble turnips, but the broadleaf weed herbicides in the spring barley controls that very easily. I think it's a great opportunity for people who haven't got livestock to bring them back onto the arable farm. Clearly it depends on your rotation. Obviously if you've got another brassica in the rotation like oilseed rape, then you need to think carefully about it. But there are graziers out there looking for these opportunities who are prepared to come in and do that temporary fencing, and it really is a win-win situation for both the grazier and the arable farmer. Obviously there's an increasing need to think about what we do with our soils over the winter periods in terms of cover crops, in terms of nitrates, etc. And this is just a great opportunity to provide that stewardship of the soil, but also to provide some very useful grazing, and indeed cover all your costs and a little bit more. I've been working with Cotswold seeds for many years actually, probably first back in the 90s. or maybe even the 80s. And I wanted to deal locally. And the nice thing is, I'm quite into agronomy, so I sometimes don't want to mix switches off the shelf. I want to talk to an advisor, construct our own grass seeds mix, etc. And really found that helpful to be able to do that. The service is great. It's invariably delivered the next day. So it's just you know, a wide range of seeds available, and I think some really innovative thinking in terms of you know, the cover crops, the whole stewardship mixes, the wildflower meadows. So a great organisation to deal with.